Hi, welcome to the Coaching Game. I'm Laurie Lawson, and my guest tonight is Elena Mauro, and she's from Milan, Italy. Hi, Elena.
Hi.
We are thrilled. We were talking. This is our third show we've done together, and every time I learn something new from her. And I'm thrilled that when she comes to town, she lets me know, and we can do this. So what we're going to do, we know that this show is based on the fantastic Points of View game. And we're both familiar with that. So Elena and I were talking about how do we want to do the show. And so she bravely drew a card face down and came up with the trust card, which is, it was appropriate. Actually, it was amazing because we were just finished talking about how trust was going to play a part. So this is the card we're going to be dealing with. And so let me tell you a little bit about her. She's an executive coach in Milan. She's got a couple of, she's introducing or attempting to introduce something called the Dahlquist assessment form, which is, I have seen, and it's an amazing form. And we were also talking about like the differences of coaching in the United States and in Italy. So first tell us, one, how did you get into coaching? And I know you also call yourself a business consultant. What's the difference?
Well, there is a big difference between being a consultant and a coach. Even if being a coach helps me as a consultant, and being a consultant helps me as a coach, and executive coach especially. Well, I began to be a coach 6 years ago after deciding to leave the classic corporate manager position in Italy, sorry. I love this. I love being a coach. And in my experience, business experience, I have been a consultant as well. So 6 years ago, I decided to be a consultant for the small, medium companies in Italy and being a coach for executives. Mm-hmm. And the two different works are actually related because being a coach, it's much easier to me working with entrepreneurs. They are very, very special people, very clever, sometimes not well organized, sometimes
creative. I'm not sure if creative and organized go together that well.
Sometimes they don't trust their people, so they don't delegate. So being a coach helps me a lot in having them define their vision, in having them work with their dreams, but becoming then from dreams, visions, and operational plans.
It's funny because someone once said, every dream needs an Excel sheet, which simply means you can dream it, but if you don't have the way to do it, it's not going to happen.
It's just a dream. It's just a dream.
It's a nice dream, but it's like it's not going to be a reality unless you really get it down. So is that kind of what you do as a coach or as a consultant, or do you mix the two?
I mix the two actually, because as a consultant, that's the kind of work I do, because usually I work on the business plans of the company, on the strategic plans of the company. So I'm called to look at the company and define the 5 years or 3 years of strategic planning of the company. And so of course, working on the vision and working on trust is so important for them and for my consultant work.
Do you have trouble, or is there any difficulty in having the entrepreneur trust you? I mean, sometimes I find that people cling to their ideas so tightly.
It's in Italy especially, the relationship with an entrepreneur is based on trust. If he doesn't or she doesn't trust you, you will never work with him. And in fact, it's really interesting. And again, being a coach helps me a lot. Because it's interesting, they really don't care at first for your experience. The first thing they want is to see you, not to read your CV.
Really?
Yes. Before they want to see you, see if they can feel that you are the right person for them and for their company. Then they want to know your experience.
So it's actually a visual thing where they just like, okay, first I want to see and I want to experience who you are.
Yes.
So you're really presenting yourself, and then you bring your...
Yeah, they want to feel you, you know, and they want to understand, and they are really able to do that in 5 minutes because they are very, very, how can I say, sensitive people, and they really want to understand if you can fit in their company, because you know consultants are not well seen usually by entrepreneurs in the sense of it's a person who's not part of a team, who's not part of a company coming in. And if the people don't like you, then all the people enter the entrepreneur's office saying, oh, well, that consultant is doing this and this and this. And so instead of being an opportunity, you just become a problem for the entrepreneur. So first of all, he wants to understand if you are the right person for your company, for him or her, and then for your company.
Okay.
And this is the consulting side. Then from the coaching side instead, being a consultant, of course, helps me in having the business language. That's the real help I have. And so when I work especially with executives, they can understand that I know what the business plan is, I know processes, I know the situations sometimes they are in, and they have some problems about these situations because I live them by myself. I have been a manager as well, so this helps my coaching part.
You said something interesting to me when we were talking, and it was like, you said, oh, I really enjoy being a coach, but I have to change my language from a consultant. So what's the difference there?
Well, the big difference is that as a coach, of course, you don't propose your own solutions. As a consultant, you are called to give solutions to the client, when the client can accept, buy them or not. But anyhow, you are supposed to give a huge number of different solutions. With coaching, instead, you just help the person, your client, to find out his own better solutions. So this is a big difference. But I have to say that mixing up coaching and consultancy makes me a consultant who helps entrepreneurs in finding their own solutions. And this helps them, and that means that I'm anyhow a good consultant, in my opinion, because even if I could think of something different, but there's a solution that the entrepreneurs like. And as a consultant, I do agree with the solution. It's a possible solution. That's fine. So how can I say? Coaching amplifies and enhances my being a consultant.
I agree. I don't see how having coaching skills could be a detriment to anything you do. I think it has to just help. It's like, if nothing else, and you've got the background of the business consultant. So I would think an entrepreneur would seek you out and go, oh, finally, I've got someone who's going to listen to me and see if I fit, you know, and come up with solutions solutions that come up with solutions that are going to be something I can do. And if not, then you can coach them to do it. So just sounds like it's the best of all worlds, really.
Yeah, and I have to say that my love for being a coach and a consultant as well is actually based on trust. I mean, as a consultant and also as a coach, you really work to build trust. For being a coach, the trust you build is helping your client in trusting in the possibilities of solutions solutions for the opportunities or problems he or she has. And as for the clients, it's again the trust that your company will reach the objectives, will change the processes, will be a better company in a few years. So trust is something I really like, because it's a pillar of a consultancy work. It's a pillar of a coaching work, in my opinion. And again, with trust, as the card says, you just believe that there's something possible. You can't see it now perhaps, but it's there, and you just have to seek it and to find it, and then to explore it. So it's really the two different work, being a consultant and a coach. Anyhow, how can I say, they are optimistic, are positive. I mean, you are just looking for solutions. You are just having your career move, which is another concept I really love about my work.
What move?
Move in the sense of if I'm here and I want to reach my objective, I have to move. I have to do something.
Oh, okay. So you have to have like an action plan or something like that.
Even if it's an opportunity, because I have defined my objective, even if I feel to have a problem, this, of course, it's much more normal with a coaching process. And coaching is different from counseling just because you define an objective. So when you have an objective, you have to move towards the objective, and trust is one of the pillars of movement towards the objective.
Definitely. I'm not sure if anything would take place if you didn't trust a little bit. I think if you... well, actually, there's a great quote here, and it says, "Trust means trusting in life. To trust so absolutely that you are willing to follow the path no matter where it leads. A person must take a leap," which is what you were saying. You've got to move, even with the doubt. If you wait for the doubt to disappear first, the moment to take the leap will never come again. Because doubt creates more doubt, and then you start overthinking it, and then nothing gets done. So what are some things that you do to motivate your clients to take that leap?
Well, I use solution-focused coaching for my coaching activities, but anyhow, the solution-focused approach also for my consultancy activity.
Whereas some consultants will use problem resolution. You've got a problem, bring it to me, let's figure out what it is. You're saying the difference is, let's see where the solution is. Not the problem.
And the languages are so different.
Yes,
and your
negative,
brainstorming
positive.
is so different if you start from the problem or you start from the possible solution. I love a solution-focused approach, and it's part of a systemic view that I love also for my studies. I have a degree in maths, and I'm very fond of quantum physics. So I'm very fond of a systemic view. And the systemic view is based again on trust, because it says, okay, you are in a world with infinite possibilities. You just have to find your best own possibility. And even if you don't see now a solution, the solution is there. Just look for it.
And I think another part of that is not only trusting in the solution, but trusting in your abilities. I mean, I find that I don't do big corporations. I do mostly individuals who are looking for career transitions or reinvention, things like that, retirement. And I think trusting that you've survived this long and succeeded in many places, and that no matter what's down that path, you're going to be able to handle it, and especially with a coach, you're definitely going to be able to handle it. But, but even by yourself, you'd handle it better with a coach. But I think trusting in your own abilities, I think that's... and that might be what you have to establish first with the entrepreneur or the businessman. It's like, okay, I see your abilities. I know what you're capable of, even though you may have some doubt. Let's go. Let's move along and see where we go.
Yes, I really do agree. And again, both in my consultancy and coaching work, one of the first things I do is just have entrepreneur or my client, my coachee, focus on his own or her own resources. So as a consultant, of course, I look at the company, at the entrepreneur, what they did, all the good things they did, because usually they did a huge number of things, but they are focusing only on the one that is not working.
Yes.
So just change the perspective. And again, my being a coach helps a lot. And I have the instruments also to have them, the entrepreneur especially, work on different perspectives, explore different perspectives. in my coaching activity instead with a coachee, I use a tool which is the Dolkest. You were talking of it before. And it's an assessment, of course, a systemic assessment. I was just looking and seeking hardly to find one. Third generation. That means that starts from the uniqueness of the person. So the results of the test have to be debriefed by a consultant, of course a trained and certified consultant, just because the founder, Maria Elizabeth Burri, says each one of us is unique. So I can compare you with someone else or anyhow on a statistic base. That doesn't mean that it's not useful for you to be compared. But again, here the philosophy is in the systemic view, you are unique. Just understand your preferences. Your preferences usually are the pillars for what then become your abilities. Your preferences usually say a lot about your talents. So go and look for them and be aware. Awareness is to me a very important word, and the more aware I am, the more I trust and the more I move and the more I reach my objectives.
Well, Dahlquist, and it's kind of, we don't want to do it just justice because it's hard to explain in 11 and a half minutes that we have, but it's like it talks about the 4 quadrants of the brain, right?
Yes, it's based on a neuroscience model,
Neuroscience.
And the 4 brains model, and says about your preferences, not abilities, preferences, because I can know how to plan, but it's not my preference. So the priority of planning, sometimes could be really, really a low priority.
Yeah.
And the idea is that if you are very aware of your preferences, then you can face everything because you can build on them. For example, I hate planning. I know that I hate planning, but I have to plan. So the point is not focusing on planning, but focusing on the other resources you have. For example, you could be a person with a great vision, so you can use your having a vision to help you planning, or you can be a person with a great preference for communication, so you can go and ask for help for the planning. So the idea is when you are really aware of your preferences, you can face your all the things you hate using your resources. And again, we come to trust.
Again. So I love that. So it's like, okay, let's say that you know that your preference is not planning, but it's an essential thing. So you take what skills you have or what preferences you have. With preferences, because you have the skills to plan, you just don't want to use them, and use them to get the planning done whatever way possible. And I guess if you're a person who likes to constantly challenge yourself, after you take the Dahlquist, then I guess you would say, oh, I have a low score in the planning part. I'm going to challenge myself, and I'm going to start planning everything, And would that change the score eventually? I mean, would you be exercising skills and put them from this quadrant into that quadrant? Does that make sense?
Yes. Yeah. Oh, yeah, sure. We move in all our life. We move through the quadrants, and actually, I use Dahlquist also to define the objectives of my coaching sessions with the client, because, for example, he could have an objective the movement and the training on some preferences he doesn't have. The big point is we don't work directly on what he doesn't like. I mean, it's really difficult. Sometimes my client ask for, but it's really difficult if you don't like to plan. Just define that every day you have to plan. That drains you a lot of energy. So before, it's important, we just fix the objective, and then before, it's important to work on your other preferences and have these resources to serve you to arrive to plan. at the end of a process, probably the preference of the planning is just light on, and it's interesting.
It's funny. I know a coach who said, "Oh my God," and he's a very successful coach. I hate the administrative part. I hate scheduling clients. I hate figuring out fees. I hate it. And he said, finally one day it occurred to me, go get a virtual assistant and you can do what you love. And he said, I have never been happier in my life. And it's like acknowledging that, it's not that he can't do it. He's a very bright guy. But it's like, just like, I don't want to spend my energy on this. I'm out here doing all this other stuff. So I can see where that would help you with a client too. And it's like, you can't really push someone to do something they don't want to do. You can, I don't want to say trick, but you can use other resources to get it done. But I can definitely see where Dahlquist would help you on an individual basis. How do you use it on a company basis?
On a company basis, there is the Dahlquist team in, which is working with the teams.
Okay.
And you can work with a team, or I also work on the board of a company. They are a team, actually.
Yes.
So for all the strategic stuff, it's interesting to use it. And as a team, you have the assessment of the team. So the system puts together all the single assessment and then design the assessment of the team. And it's so interesting. I have been working for a company where a general manager told me they don't talk to each other and they don't plan. And I never have a cost of opportunities analysis of a project. And putting together the Dahlquist, they were exactly the known preferences of the people. They didn't communicate that much. And they really didn't like to plan and as a team. And so he understood and he said, oh, well, now I do understand. And so we defined how to work on them because, again, I told the general manager, if you are asking all the time for a plan, you will never have it. Right. Because the priority of a plan for these people is really a low priority. So we have to define a process. We have to help them with a tool. So if you have a planning tool, an easy one, perhaps they are helped in planning. And we worked on their preferences that also were their strength from a business point of view. And we reached to have the plans, the evaluation of the projects, because first of all, they became aware that they didn't like it. And so from the moment they became aware, they were telling me, oh, our general manager is always asking for plans. And I said, well...
and we don't like that.
We don't like that. So it's, again, with a team, it's an important moment of awareness, first of all, and then helps in defining the best way to follow to reach the objective. Because, again, the general manager told me, now I understand why all the training about project management, all the training about defining costs of the projects, all the training about the planning process didn't
produce results.
The results he was looking for. And after instead a team coaching, a one-to-one coaching mixed to a team coaching process, things were going much better, and he had some of the results he was seeking for.
You know what? And I think that, again, ties into trust. I think he trusted that this problem could be solved or there could be a solution, but he wasn't sure how to get there. So between you and the Dahlquist, I think it brought him, it's like, okay, here's what we need to work on. And so I guess, again, it's trusting that whatever difficulty or challenge you're having there is a solution.
Oh, yeah. Definitely.
And you may not see the path, you may not see the road, but it's
definitely.
Like, let me go find it.
another client, and he is a very left brain, so he's very rational, he's very objective,
Yes.
you know, it's all numbers. And he called me saying, well, you know, I don't really need a trainer. I really need someone who can build trust. And I was quite astonished, saying, why are you calling me? Because you are a coach, you are a consultant, and what I really understand is that my people, they don't, well, they have a big problem with the information flows in the company. And he said, I understood after having the Dolcast in a one-to-one process that my guys here, they just don't talk to each other because they don't trust each other. And that's the big point. So I can send them to all the communication trainings, but I will never reach my result. So he said, let's work on a project. And again, it was a coaching and team coaching project, mixing up the two perspectives. To build trust and to have these people trust that their way of communicate can be different, and that you know, with the 4 quadrants of the 4 brain models, you can understand that perhaps people, they are not just badly treating you, but they just don't understand what you're saying. So
and
this
it's
helps
not
a lot.
necessarily that they are badly treating you. It's just that they don't get it. It's like
They don't get it.
I'm
yes.
giving him what I think he wants. He's not appreciating it. So, well, tell me, is there somewhere? Obviously, Elena is a marvelous Dolquist debriefer. Yes, but is there somewhere they could find out more about Dolquist? Is there a
Yes,
website?
there is a website of Dolcast, which is multi-language. It's in English as well. And it's dolcast.net. So if you just Google it, dolcast.net.
And it's DOLQUEST.
Yes,
.net.
and it's there they can find many information about
just to
the
get an
questionnaire.
idea.
Yes.
It isn't in the United States yet, but Elena's available by Skype. And I see at the bottom we've got this long LinkedIn. Tell them if they don't have a pen where they can find. How do they find you on LinkedIn? Because there's a couple I looked at.
Yes,
Elena
well, it's
Mauro.
with my name, Elena Mauro,
Which is on the bottom.
if they just Google executive coach or business consultant Italy, I just came out with my nice face.
Yeah, try to remember that because there are a couple. Well, we only have like 25 seconds left, believe it or not, and there was so much we wanted to talk about, but I think we covered trust nicely. I can only thank you once again. She always brings such fascinating ideas to me and to the United States, and I'm so glad you're sharing them. Thank you so much for being on the Coaching Game and for giving us all this information. It has been a true delight. Thank you.
Well, a true delight to me. Thanks to you all.
Thank you.
Thanks.